Hello again from Custom Home Builder Solutions, also known as CHS, a job costing, full accounting, and profit management software for the professional home builder. This video is part 2 in a series of videos about what you can do to clean out your accounting database once you have just a ton of records. Part 1 was reassuring you that we have developed tools that will still give you access to archived accounting records if you decide to purge your accounting records. We had clicked on this accounting database general ledgers and talked about how this is the year 2016, and this particular builder has records as far as back as September 30th, 2004, over like 12 years ago, or almost 12 years ago. And how having so many records, they have 85,000 records, which is still manageable, but we'll be doing some slowing down of you. How you can purge records, and I was reassuring you that if you use the utility for purging records, I'm clicking that button. We went over everything on this window and described what this is about. But again, I'd like to reassure you that immediately a copy of your file is created, stored in archives, so you could look up old accounting records. That this purge feature is just going to go through and remove records up to a certain date that you will select, and then replace them with balance forwards. It'll calculate the balances and replace all your accounting general ledger accounts with balance forwards, which is similar to what you do if you ever like change software. You're coming in with balance forwards and starting in with those balances forwards, and then starting in with your data. So if you're slowing way down and you're thinking, well, I need to get something faster, you might think, oh yeah, I can do this, and CHS will handle things for me. It will figure out the balance forwards for you. It will take care of your accounting for you. It will check for integrity before you do it. So we're taking care of you. We're making a copy of it, giving you access to your file before the purge, so that you can go look up anything you like. In your accounting records, you're not really losing them. We're just sort of making a second copy of your file and starting with a cleaner one with a lot less records. I also was talking about CHS will, as part of this process, take all of your actual job revenues and cost records and put them in something called a historical table in your current file, separate, so that it's not part of what CHS is combing through, separate from your accounting table, but so that you can go look up old job costs or who you paid, or do job cost reports. And we'll also talk about how some of those jobs could be restored to your current database. So mostly I just want to re-emphasize, don't freak out. I'm taking care of you. I wrote this program. I know what I need to do for accounting in my code behind the scenes to take care of you. So what I'd like to talk about really in this video is, this is the first tab that you would be reading all the information. Then you would click a second tab to do the steps to run the utility. I'm going to put in my date, 093013, which is a fiscal year-end date for this builder. And I'm in the year 2016, so I'm choosing one over 2 years old. 9/30/14 wouldn't actually work because we're just in June of 2016. The program will say that's not over 2 years old if I use that. And then I mentioned that you'll be printing some reports in this little step 2, under step 2, before the purge, so that you can reprint these reports and compare them after the purge. But I'm not going to do that in this video. This video, what I want to do is show you how CHS is going and checking for some things before it will let you do the purge. It wants your accounting books to be in good order before doing it, and there's some steps you can take to, if CHS discovers something that it thinks you need to clean up. I want to go over a little bit about how to do that. So I have purposely caused some things that CHS will find and tell me to clean up before I can do the purge, and that's what I'd like to demonstrate. And then probably in the next video we'll actually do the purge after we do this video about cleaning up. So let's play like we printed all these reports. I won't take time for that now. And we're now ready to do step 3. Click this to run the utility to update balance forwards up to the cutoff date that we entered. First of all, of course, it wants to confirm that you are ready to do this. So it gives you the option to not do it again before you really do it. And I'm going to go ahead and click yes, run the purge. Now notice that it says CHS is checking things. It actually checked it pretty quickly. And it's stopping and it's saying there is a difference between the balance in the control account for accounts payable and the total of unpaid payables invoices as of the date selected. Please use tools on the accounts payable aging window to determine why there is a difference and contact CHS support staff if you need assistance in correcting this difference. Now, I purposely have caused this situation by creating a journal entry and posting one of the records to my control account for accounts payable in my journal entry. CHS strongly warns you not to do that because the control account for posting offset entries that CHS uses for accounts payable, the accounts payable account on your chart of accounts, you should let CHS control that. But I do let you make a journal entry that uses it just in case you're just needing to actually get your books in balance, so that the balance in your accounts payable account on your chart of accounts equals your open unpaid invoices. But so this has told us to go to the AP aging window to investigate this. So let's go do that. And like I said, what I did is actually just create a journal entry that would throw it off. So if we go, we could, in the select task, we could start typing aging to see if we find it, or we could have found it under payables over here in aging, but let's show how this works. Whoops, I jumped around. I'm selecting that. And you're going to notice that we get, as we try to go into aging, it's telling me that the balance in my accounts payable account does not match the balance of my unpaid payables invoices. So let's see how you can troubleshoot that. First of all, here is my AP, the balance in my AP account. My control account is GL number 2110. You do set those control accounts, or they're just set up for you if you load the NHB or the simple chart of accounts. But the balance in my AP control account is $74,040, but my unpaid total of bills is $73,940.76. If I click to run a little report, oh, I wanted to change the date. Let's see if we're off on our date. And you do have to use the calendar for this. Let's get September 30. There's a reason for that because it's just a reason why you have to use the calendar. So it is still showing the hundreds. So as of September 30th, here's my balance in my AP account, and my unpaid total of invoices is $100 difference. There's a difference of $100. And if I ran a little report of the invoice, the open invoices, and keep that, notice how these are in alphabetical order by vendor. And I should print this out, and then I should compare it to another report. This is a total of all my open unpaid invoices. I can print a detail of those down here if I liked. And the other button you should use, you printed this and saw the vendors, and the last one was not a vendor that's going to show up here. If you click this button for APGL summary, CHS is actually going and looking at your control account 2110, which is accounts payable, and summing together all the records by vendor to show you what that balance is made up of by vendor. Now all of a sudden you'll notice on this one there's a Z vendor that was not in our list over here that totaled to our open invoices. So that's your first clue. And a Z vendor is actually, if you post a journal entry, you're not selecting vendors, and so behind the scenes, because every accounting record has to have a vendor, it uses our generic Z vendor as the vendors. So now what you can do, if you take this report and your open invoice, you can do some searching in your accounting database for some records to figure out what's causing that. So what we might be interested in is all records in this GL account 2110 with the vendor Z. So let's do that. Now remember earlier we opened our accounting transactions, which has extensive searches. So let's, first of all, you can start typing here at the top and have this move rather than you scrolling. So now we've selected 2110 accounts payable, and we can see that here there's a place for vendors, and I'll just type Z and I'll leave that. And let's just submit the search of our whole accounting of our through our 2110 GL account for any vendors with Z. So let's see that. Now we have some other things in here, but let's see if we see any for $100. We could have actually, if you wanted to narrow down the search, you can do something like type 100. You don't know whether it would be a plus or minus for sure. So you could do a comma and then minus 100. And that means search for all records that either have 100 or minus 100. Just to see if we find it right away that way. And sure enough, we did. And what you can see is that the journal that it was posted to is not the AP journal, but the AJE journal, which is for adjusting journal entries. And I can kind of drill down on any of the journals to see what that was. And you can see here's a journal entry that I made, and I called it test put AP out of balance. And I used the 2110 and I put a credit to it, even though I got warned by CHS when I selected that GL number that I shouldn't really, unless there's a very good reason for it, be using the accounts payable trade GL number. And I put the other side just to miscellaneous expense. So actually what I want to do is go delete my journal entry. It could be that you might need to make some other journal entry or something to get that AP balance to tie to your open invoices. And you can definitely call me, call us, for us to help you get that in order. The reason CHS wants that in order before doing the purge, first of all, I'm going to go home and I'm going to go to accounting and I'm going to open the thing for adjusting journal entries because that's where I know my entry is. And I'm just going to go ahead and, I didn't say it, but I did see the date. 1/3, of course. So let's just search for that journal entry. See what journal entries are here. And you can see here's the one, put AP out of balance. I could do a report and see that same journal entry, but what I'm going to do is delete it. I'm not saying just go delete things because you did it. You need to study on it. And with my help, we could figure out what you might need to do to help put your aging back in balance. It's alerting me that it's a very old date outside of my current accounting period that I have set up, and do I still want to delete it, etc. It has now been deleted, and I could now go back to my AP aging and reset it. And then let's get our date again that we want, which is 2013 and September 30th, and let it redo itself, let it recalculate itself. Now you'll see as of 09/30/2013, I'm not sure what I typed before because this is a different number. I think I might have typed some different date. But basically you can see that we are now tying the accounts payable control account. We got rid of that $100, is equaling our list of unpaid payables. So that's a good thing. And let's close that. Now let's go back and try to do our purging again. Let's go back to our home, get back to our utilities, purge, and go to step 2 and 09/30/13, and let's try to purge. Yes, run the purge. It checked for some things. Now it says there is a balance in one or more income statement accounts on your chart of accounts as of the date selected. Before moving records to historical, the books must be closed as of the date selected. If the date is appropriate, use the feature to close books year end. So let's go do that. Apparently we didn't close our books as of 9/30/2013 yet, and maybe we're okay with closing them. So let's go back to accounting. You can see that there's one here for closed books year end. or if you start typing close books fiscal year end. We're interested in closing September 30, and also you should be sure you're ready to do that. But it also says check the prior year to make sure that you've closed things. You do need to select an equity account to close those into. Please watch help about closing books. And let's review accounts. If we find no records, that means we did close that year. What it is looking for any accounts with balances that are income statement accounts. So let's do 930-2013. Let's review those. We do see that, yes, we do have all these balances as of that date. If we study on them and we look at things and we say, okay, we're ready to close the books, we'll do step 2. This is not a big video about closing books, but it's going to create a journal entry to close the books as of September 30. And it shows you the big journal entry that it made to do that. And if you click this button again to review accounts, there's no records. In other words, there's no balances in the income statement, sales, and expenses accounts as of this date. So we've done that. So let's go back home. Let's go back to our utilities, and let's do the Purge accounting data again, and not slide down. And let's do 093013. Let's play like we printed all these reports already. Click this to run the utility, and then it says yes, run the Purge. And we're going to get one more message, and it says there are accounts receivable invoices that have mismatched departments or jobs. This needs to be fixed before this feature can be used. Click the tab labeled Accounts Receivable Mismatches to correct the mismatched jobs or departments. There is a tab right here, Accounts Receivable Mismatches, and it has tools here, because what we need to do is notice how this is Receivables Invoice 1019. And that it is actually quite old. CHS now, since those old years, basically won't let you do an accounts receivable invoice with a job and a department without matching it when you post a deposit, etc., or some other thing with that receivables number. It won't let you duplicate them unless it has the same job and department. The reason for this is because we do little trial balances by job and by department. So accounts receivable invoices, you create one with a job and department. When you post a deposit or some other entry for that accounts receivable, it needs to have the very same job and department so that our little trial balances for each job and department or cash flow, etc., will be right. They'll match the ins and outs. So CHS checks for, this would actually probably impact much older customers of CHS than current ones in the last so many years. They might still have some of these lagging out here. What you can see is that there's this job here and this job with it out, and for some reason it found a 0 record with a different department and job. So what I'm going to do to clean it up is, I'm really not worried about this, I'll just change it to that job code. So that's job MIR 162C, and I want to do the CH department. I can see that. And when I submit these changes, this mismatched invoice will go away from my list because it'll refresh. And it won't have a mismatched one anymore. Now here's 2 of them to this job, 2 of them to this job. You may need to do some investigation for whether you really want to do these, but they're very old. So you might as well get them matched up. So this is MIR 456. Let's match it up to that. And let's get it to the spec department apparently. And submit the changes on that one. Now it'll still be here because there's still one entry with that same invoice number that needs to get changed to match. Same job, same department. We're kind of okay with using that because the payer was marked, was also that same code. So let's submit our changes, and that one will disappear. And on this one, we obviously have 1. It's a 0 one, but let's go ahead and get it to match up the other ones there. that one, and the department was CH. Submit changes. So that one went away. And see how this payer is WR66C. They apparently naming their payers the same as they named the job. Let's get this one to match that one. Be that one, and CH department. Submit changes. And there we go. No mismatches are found any longer. Now basically I'm going to stop this video because that's actually probably most of the stuff CHS would check for and stop you and tell you you need to get those things cleaned up before it runs the utility. But I want to, before I actually do the real purge where that doesn't find any problems anymore, I want to go ahead and get these reports printed out. I'll probably do that and minimize them rather than taking up time in the next video, and then show you them real quickly before and after. So thank you for watching this video, and please continue to the next one to do the where we'll be doing the actual purge and looking at how our records look after we do the purge.